Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, I want to talk about how not to care what people think of you. I used to care way too freaking much, and I have done so many beautiful things that have helped me release that type of energy. Because yeah, it's important to care about people's thoughts and opinions, but when we let that rule our lives, that's when it gets messy, that's when it gets stressful, and that's when our energy just drains. So before we get started, my name's Megan, I'm the mother of tarot, and my channel is full of pick a card tarot readings and advice videos. So now that we got that out of the way, let's start with rule number 1 of how to stop caring what people think of you, of how not to give a you-know-what. There's something important to remember with rule number 1. People are not thinking about you nearly as much as you think that they are. Everyone is their own star of their own reality, and we like to think that people are thinking about us and worried about what we're doing and what we're wearing and what we're saying, but they're really not. They probably think about us a tenth of what we think they do, probably even less than that. So if you think, oh, they're going to think this and they're going to think that and they're going to think this, they're probably not going to think much. It might feel like that because they might be expressing their opinion when they're with you, but outside of that time that they're having an energetic exchange with you, they're thinking about themselves, their stresses, their worries, and their lives. Number 2, when you meet people, when you meet a bunch of people, say you're at a party and you meet 10 new people, those 10 people are all going to think something different of you. They're all going to have a completely different perception of you because everyone perceives reality in a completely different way. So the first person you meet might think you were pretty cool. You know, I probably want to talk to that person again. They had interesting conversation. Next person's going to think, wow, that person was stuck up. They think they're the shit. They're like way too confident and into themselves. Person number 3 is going to think, yeah, they were kind of boring and shy and kind of weird, and they made a weird comment. I don't really want to talk to that person again. And then person number 4 is going to think, wow, I want to go out with that person. That person's amazing. I want to ask them for their number. I'm so nervous around them, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, everyone's going to think something different. So when we try to please people, we try to make other people happy, it's like we literally can't. We literally can't, because every single person is going to expect something different from us, is going to think something different from us, and they're all going to read our energy differently, because we all read other people's energy based on our own energy. So it's literally impossible to make people happy because everyone's needs are different. So put yourself first, always. Put yourself first. And I know that's easier said than done, but this perspective really helped me. Number 3, do things that scare you. Putting yourself out of your comfort zone gives you a lot of courage, gives you a lot of strength, and it makes you love yourself more. It makes you proud of yourself. It makes you excited for life. It might at the time make you feel anxious and like you want to throw up, but after you do it, you feel great. So I'm not saying that you have to go skydiving or share your whole life story on Instagram. You can start small, but make sure it's something that actually scares you. Don't say, oh, I'll start doing that because I can do that. I feel comfortable doing that. The point of this is to make you feel completely uncomfortable. So if posting a story on Instagram with your face talking, you know, hey, what's up guys? How's it going? If that scares you, do that. If saying hi to a stranger or starting a conversation with a random person sober scares you, do that. If trying a new food freaks you out, it can be small little things like that. But try to get uncomfortable. Try to do one thing every day. When you put yourself in this kind of energy, you become more brave, you have more courage, and you stop caring about what other people think of you. It's really a powerful tool. It's one of the best things you can do. Number 4, read Mark Manson's How to Not Give a Fuck, or How Not to Give a Fuck. It's this book. It's really good. It's really funny. And his way of thinking is really unique. His perspective just scrambled my brain up, and it was great. So read that book. Number 5. Most people that are old and gray and on their deathbed, you know what their biggest wish or regret was? That they would have spent less time worrying about what other people thought of them, and they would have done more things for themselves. That is like the number 1 thing. So a little practice thing that I like to do is I like to think about, if right now in my life, I'm 34, if I were to go back 10 years to when I was 24 years old, how different would I be? Would I act the same? Would I care as much about what people thought of me 10 years ago? I would not have. I would not have cared at all. I would have been a completely different person if I could go back right now. And I'm not talking about changing the future or changing our present moment, present reality, like a regret of a situation. That's not what I'm talking about. Don't get into all the details. I'm just talking about how differently you would act. Now think about yourself 10 years in the future. So when I'm 44, what kind of energy, what kind of space would I like to be in? Where would I be in my life? And then think, from that future Megan's perspective, would I be so worried about what would I do if I went back into this body? Like, does that make sense? What would I do differently if I came back now? Because in 10 years from now, I'm not going to care about what kind of video content I created or if I embarrassed myself or things like that. That's not going to matter. So I think it's just interesting to think about ourselves in different time frames, different ages, and think about, do I want to be that old person on my bed when I'm dying, regretting that I didn't live my life in my fullest expression? Alright, this is for my single men and women out there. Now, I can tell you from my experience that when I was dating people and I was trying to find a man, I had a hard time. I was single for most of my life, and I always thought there was something wrong with me, or I wasn't the ideal image of what a man wanted. So I tried to manipulate my being of who I was, and I think I did this mostly subconsciously because it wasn't like I was completely fake. I wasn't lying about my work or my hobbies or my friends or anything like that. But I would hold back. I would hold back certain bits of myself, right? The bits of me that wanted to have some sort of weird conversation or make a funny comment that might not be that funny. I might offend them, or I would just hold back some of my energy. It wasn't like I was being fake. I just wasn't being completely authentic because I was scared. I was scared to show myself. And then if I showed my complete authentic self, they didn't like that. That was a complete rejection of me, right? If I only show bits of myself, then they're only rejecting parts of me. And I think that's something that a lot of people deal with when they are single and they're trying to find somebody. But let me tell you something. Energetically speaking, when you hold yourself back, when you don't show your true authentic self, your true colors, and you put up this kind of fake image, because it is being fake to an extent, right? You put up this image, you're going to attract the same type of person. So you're going to attract a person that isn't going to show you who they really are, and it's going to hold back, and they're going to be different from who they really are. And then you're going to go into this relationship, and then you're going to keep going, and then all of a sudden they're going to change, and then you're going to change, and then it's not going to work. It's not going to work because it's like, well, that's not who I thought he was, or that's not who I thought she was. And because eventually your authentic self is going to come out. It's just how it works. It's just how it works. The longer you spend with somebody, the more you get to know them. That's how it works. So be yourself. Really learn to love yourself. Love who you are. And I'm not just talking about the good characteristics, but the dark characteristics, because we all have them. We all have them. We all have our flaws. That's what makes us human, but it also makes us beautiful. So love your dark, love your light, and when you go on these dates, be yourself, seriously. And if they don't like it, then that's perfect, because you weeded them out, and you're going to find the man or woman that loves you for exactly who you are. Okay, number 8, which kind of talks about all the other ones I talked about, but we're going to recap. Be vulnerable. Be vulnerable. It's okay to cry in public. It's okay to talk about your struggles. It's okay to talk about your insecurities, what makes you nervous, what makes you scared. We all have them. And when we talk about these types of topics and we take away the power that they have over us, that fear, we start to attract more people into our lives that are going through similar experiences. And when we attract more people into our lives that are going through the same thing, that becomes an energetic support system. And that builds up your confidence, it builds up your courage, and you realize, oh, wow, I'm not the only one going through this. And there are so many people experiencing that, and it's such a powerful thing. I used to keep my health symptoms hidden. I struggled with a lot of pain through my childhood. I lost stomach issues and allergies, and I was so embarrassed by them, especially IBS. I mean, I was having all kinds of crazy bowel movements, and that was so embarrassing. I didn't want to tell my peers, and even into my adulthood, it's like, I don't want to talk about my stomach problems, and it's embarrassing, and I don't want to put that on people because no one wants to hear about my bowel movements, which maybe some people don't, but I don't care. Once I finally started to open up about it, I started to post some things on my Instagram account about what I was going through. And then I started to find other people that had health problems and chronic illness. And as I went down this healing journey, I realized how beautiful my pain was, how it's brought some of the most amazing people into my life, how much it's strengthened me. And now I give 1 million less FUCKs than I ever have in my life. And it's so freeing and it's so powerful. I mean, look at me. I'm making a freaking video. Looking at this camera used to terrify me. It still scares me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I'll be honest. It still scares me a little bit. But this is amazing. I'm so proud of myself. And the reason I started filming myself was because it scared me. And I knew it was good for me. And I just started doing it. So I want to challenge you guys. When something's presented to you and you're like, I don't want to do that. That makes me uncomfortable. That makes me a little freaked out. I want you to say yes. I want you to just do it. I want you to say yes. Say, okay, this is good for me. Megan told me that this is going to help me build my courage. It's going to help me not to care what people think. It's going to improve my life on so many levels. So I'm just going to do it. And you might feel like you're going to throw up sometimes, and you might get a little anxious, and you might hate me for it, but you're going to love me in the end, I promise. So I hope this video helped you guys. Comment below if it did. Also subscribe. It really helps out my channel, and I will see you next time.